Hello, everybody. It's Grace again, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some interviews that I conducted with a professor here at Gulfport campus and also with a fellow student in our class, Linda Hardup, and she lives in Hattiesburg. First, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the interview with my professor. His name is Professor Hopkins, and his title actually is a Professor of Practice in Marketing, but in his past, he has worked with crisis communication planning and also marketing and in the communications field, so he was the perfect candidate for me to interview. Um, I asked him a couple of questions, and I'm going to brief you guys on the questions that I asked both parties and also fill you in a little bit what they had to say about with answers to my question. Okay, the first question I asked him was, what is your position here at USM? And I wanted him to talk to me a little bit about, since he's in the marketing field and his past and how he ended up um, becoming a professor in marketing, etc. And he is a professor of practice in marketing, like I said earlier, and he began doing marketing just for just side projects and sales, and then eventually got into the corporate world, moved to Boston, had a family, has done some work in New York. He has a master's in communication leadership and development. His college goal at the time, he thought this was kind of funny that it's not really anything what he does now. He never thought that he would be a professor, but his college goal was to be an executive director for a social service agency. Um, his first job was an executive director of Hampton Beach Chamber of Commerce in New Hampshire, and he began working with an advertisement agency on the side who actually offered him a job, and it was a little bit better job than being the executive director of the chamber in Hampton Beach. So he took that job and ended up in New York working with a major advertising agency, and they handled accounts all from the auto industry to the corporate world to big business. So he knows his stuff. Um, he also worked for AT&T, U.S. Army, Chase Manhattan Bank, Hertz Rental Cars, so he has a lot of experience. As the second question I asked him was after describing his background, have you ever been a part of a crisis communication planning team or yourself been a part of creating a plan? And his answer to this was yes. He actually worked for in our backyard over at Harrah's Casino in New Orleans, and he said one of the most important thing is you have to have an organized, designated chain of command. Everyone has to be focused, especially when it has to come to a crisis communication plan. And my last question to him is since he's taught me, I've actually taken 3 classes under Professor Hopkins. I asked him, since he's taught me, do you think that I would be a great marketing specialist or a crisis communication plan creator, an implementer? He said yes, that I also needed to stay focused when I'm not focused. He said sometimes that my mind tends to wander a little bit, but when I am focused, that I am excellent and I would be great in any sort of business field, and that I have to want to do something, and that if I put my mind to it, good things will come for that. So that was Professor Hopkins. Now, as far as the IDS student goes, I had the privilege of interviewing Linda Hardup over the phone, and we actually formulated a couple of questions together. First of being, how did you become a part of the interdisciplinary studies program? And she said she started college off and on from about 1994. She ended up getting married and having children. She originally was a pre-med major, and she decided to take a break, and she switched to networking and working full time. Um, she got a job in the field that she's in now, and she took a break from school because she got the job. So school kind of got pushed back a little bit, and she got the job, so she was comfortable with that. And then she eventually, time went on, she was ready to finally finish school, a lot like me. So we had a good conversation. The second question did your background in the medical school and business aid in the formulation of your research question and your portfolio or project as a whole. And she said definitely, which I figured she would, but I wanted to hear a little bit more about it. And she said that she had always had an interest in microbiology and the medical field, and combining her prior work experience in the business field with her medical passion, she was able to formulate an excellent research plan and find some pretty great results, as you guys will see on her Weebly. Um, I also asked her, would she recommend the program to anyone else and why? Well, she said that sometimes life may happen and things may get into the way, and you may have to deviate from the school path or the original plan that you had laid out for yourself. But when you have an option like the interdisciplinary program here at USM, you are still required to get that. You still are required to get a great education. You know, it's not lenient. I mean, there are still guidelines and rules and things that are expected from you. You still are, supposed to be a responsible student, and it keeps you focused instead of forcing you into a very rigid course study. So it's kind of nice because you get to do the research on your own, and you definitely get you definitely, whatever you put into the project in the class, you will get more out of it. So that's what she really liked about that. Also, we discussed how it fully engaged the student, and she really liked the convenience that you could pick and choose what you like to do. She liked the flexibility of it. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed hearing about two wonderful people, and check out my next video coming up next.